Hello. Out today with the beast. Needed a walk in the fresh air. So I'm going to do the follow up to the King Panda video, which is about his wife. Come on. Queen Cynewise. The Panda one ain't done very well. It's only got about 40 views after 4 or 5 days, which is awful. But I've done the research. I've got the print out. Got the t-shirt. I think I might as well do it regardless. So you're getting it anyway. Right, I'm going to do this one on the walk. I think do some editing afterwards. It's not going to get many views. No matter how we do it, does it? It makes a change. This is the locks at Borrowash from Derby Canal at the restoring, renovating. So I think it was around 2019 the science hippies were restudying the Staffordshire hoard and connecting it possibly with King Panda. I've not heard any updates on it, but King Panda is he's the leading candidate for the owner of the hoard. The estimated burial date of the hoard was around 650, 670 AD, and it was found in Lichfield, which is close to where Penda ruled in Tamworth. So it all coincides with Penda's rule in Mercia. Now this was proved, it shines new light on the warrior elite of the culture of the 7th century. But in complete contrast with this, the queens of the 7th century are quite obscure in the historical records. You've got Bertha, who was a wife of, was it Ethelbert of Kent? She's probably the first Christian queen. But possibly the most tantalising queen of the 7th century that I've read about is the wife of Penda of Mercia, Cynewise. The name's derived from Old English and it means royal and wise, which she sounds like she was. She was born in 611 AD in Yorkshire, and her father was Radwold of East Anglia. If I said the name right, it sounded like something you'd put on the engine, that did. And according to records, she had at least 6 sons and 4 daughters with King Panda. And I think she died in 661 in Surrey, aged 50-year-old. Now most information we have about Penda and his queen is from the Venerable Bede, and the historian regarded Penda as a ruthless warlord, a ruthless pagan warlord at that. Plus he didn't like it that Penda aligned himself with other Christian kings. Yeah, that annoyed him. But Bede's opinion, or Bede's opinion on Cynewise, was that she herself was a remarkable woman, because during key battle in the ongoing struggle between Mercia and Northumberland, she kept a certain prince, Northumbrian prince, hostage elsewhere, which points to the power and ability of this great queen. Plus, Cynewise was a capable keeper of the royal household, with all the duty that entailed. This included gift giving for special visitors, negotiating, providing adequate provisions, dealing with the royal coffers, of course hostage keeping, and raising and educating her children and protecting their interests. Cynewise and Penda's children featured no fewer than 4 kings of Mercia, and other nearby kingdoms, as well as several saintly daughters. So this was another concern for Cynewise. It was the inheritance of her children. And I'd imagine this was more likely the case in the pre-Christian period, as the right of succession belonging to the firstborn child was not yet normal practice. The usual practice was splitting up of lands among sons in most northern territories. The succession practice tended to favour sons most capable of leading war bands over other children. In this respect, Cynewise appears to be very successfully. 4 of Penda's sons became kings, and their further daughter was married to a prince in a neighbouring kingdom, so she didn't do bad. Monogamy was not considered an essential practice in the 7th century, and kings of other high status nobles could take several wives or keep concubines. Now this relates to Germanic practices, in which the status was linked to the number of wives and children a man could claim. But it appears Penda thought highly of Cynewise and trusted her to deal with the kingdoms while he was away warmongering, which was quite often. Now if he did have other wives and concubine, it's not mentioned by the Venerable Bede, but I'm sure he would have said if he'd have known, because he was a very strong critic of King Panda. What are you doing? Now, Penda was killed at the Battle of Winwed in 655 AD, and in the aftermath of his death, rule of Mercia was seized by the Northumbrian dynasty. Then in, I think it was 658, that rule returned to Penda's line. This is according to Bede again. 3 years after King Panda, after his death, the aldermen of Mercia rebelled against King Oswu of Northumbria. And they set up their King Wulfhere, which was Penda's youngest son. Now, Cynewise appears nowhere in the text by Bede, but it would seem strange that she would not have played a role in the Mercian rebellion against Oswu, and to get her son back on the throne. Now, one report says she lived till 661, so would have had seen her son claim the throne. Now, it could be plausible that she too may have been executed after Penda's death. It's possible, but the reports say she lived on for another 5 years after her son had got back the throne, so I don't think that's right. She just must have been missed out in the history because she's a female. Little bugger trying to dig moles up. What have you found, Ozzy? The Yappo's come to join you. Ozzy, come on, it's a sports field, you better not be digging holes. Come on, good lad. Oh, right, I think I just spotted something in this tree. Something I've never seen before. Well, apart from hanging its own front room. It's mistletoe. Sure it is. Yeah, just there. Straight above me, I'm sure that's mistletoe. Loads of it. Yeah. And it's not an oak tree. I thought it grew in oaks.